We'll just be really passionate about it. Do something that you really enjoy. It's like, yeah, but if you go broke doing something you really enjoy, you're probably not going to enjoy it for very long.
Don't burn your bridges. Always do the right thing. Don't give anybody that middle finger. Don't use those 4-letter words, no matter how upset you may be.
If you want to stay an amateur, don't take my advice. You want to go be a pro, these are the small, little, intricate details that you got to polish up to go to the next level.
The most important thing for me now that didn't exist then was come up with a plan B. You've got to have options, because I've actually been laid off 3 times. I never really had a backup plan, and I think that's necessary. I have one now.
This little thing right here, man, this is God's gift to small business owners. You know, the ability for us to shoot content and put it out for the world to see so that we can grow our businesses. Hey guys, what's up? It's Coach Carroll. Welcome to the Sales Factory. We are in a new location with new equipment, and I got a new guest for you today. So we're using Switcher Studio, which is a local Louisville startup company, and we're operating this thing. So hang in there with us as we navigate this. We got Andy on the ones and twos as always, but hopefully you guys will enjoy this podcast. Today I've got Jason Johnson. He's inventive and innovative. So this guy's got plenty of experience in sales and marketing. He is currently a real estate professional over at Homepage Realty. Shout out to Homepage. We did a lunch and learn there not too long ago. But if we go all the way back, he graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication from the University of Louisville, right here in Louisville, Kentucky, and has had lots of sales experience and been in real estate for quite some years. So, Jason, welcome to the Sales Factory, my man.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. You know, it's funny. I just got back from Dallas. I was down there for Coach P Summit, and I was speaking, and we came back, and the lady said, "You're going to Kentucky. Is it and I was like, Louisville. She's like, Louisville? I said, no, Louisville. It's all one syllable, you know. And so people
That's how you can
Louisville,
tell. Yeah, that's how you can tell people who aren't from here when they say Louisville or Louisville or
yeah,
exactly. It's Louisville.
Yeah, man. Well, University of Louisville. Did you go to the question that everyone in Louisville asks is, did you go to high school in Louisville?
I went just about 20 miles south. Yeah.
Okay.
Moved to Louisville. I started school actually at Eastern Kentucky and went to U of L just after, and that's when I moved to Louisville in the year 2000. Yeah.
Okay.
And been here ever since. Been in St. Matthews ever since.
Nice, man. Well, it looks like you've got experience, with Courier Journal, Verizon, and then also some pharmaceutical sales experience, which is cool. Managed 3 of the territories and ranked number 1 and number 2 3 times within the team's largest territory, and increased market share by 9.2%. So I'm excited, man, to hear some stuff that you can share with our listeners. We've got everybody from, I always say, the kid that just bought his first lawnmower and is starting a business to, guys that are, white collar running multi-million-dollar insurance agencies, real estate agencies, and everybody in between. So we always like to hop in, man, with if there was anything I missed on your background, please take a second to, if you want to add anything to it. But then also we like to kind of start with a story. So if you could share one of your war stories from sales, either in your current line from a real estate piece, or if it's in, maybe one of your past jobs, would love to hear that. So I'll kind of turn it over to you for a few.
Sure. Yeah. War story. Let's see. Actually, in pharma. Yeah. I had a specific drug. I had some pretty solid sales experience going into pharmaceuticals, and started mid-range to high range. Didn't come in as the typical rep with 5 drugs in my bag. I had 1 drug. It was a dermatological. It was awesome. That way I got to really, really network and communicate with all these incredibly intelligent people, these allergists, pediatricians. These guys are the top of the physician food chain, in my opinion. So just getting to listen and learn and sell and detail and sample and connect and have lunch and dinners and all that good stuff. So my drug was a really hard sell. We were placed on this specific drug because it had a black box warning. and it
What's
had a
that mean?
causal relation. Well, it had a causal relationship with lymphoma,
Hmm.
and the only reason why that was even there is because I think it was something like 9 times the amount were put on lab rats, and then they were put under beams, sunbeams. So it started to have that relationship with lymphoma if you're doing 9 times the amount and you're under this tanning bed if you were a rat, which I'm glad I'm not in that industry anymore. I don't like, how they roll as far as pushing manufactured drugs and those kinds of things on the American people. But I
Yeah.
definitely enjoyed my time. I learned a lot, but it was a struggle to talk to those pediatricians and get them to write my drug. Those were the most difficult by far. I think the most intelligent are those derms. Man, they study and they know their stuff, and you do not go anywhere without educating yourself, reading the studies, reading every single all the little fine print on everything you can get your hands on. Because if you go in there and you make a mistake and you say something that literally isn't relevant, they will call you out, and they are not afraid. They see 60 reps a day, so no
Holy
one in there
shit.
was special. Yeah, it was a tough sell, but it was fun. It was good. It was a good
How'd
time.
you overcome maybe a situation like where maybe if you like said something, they caught you up in that, like how'd you recover from that?
Just I'll follow back up with you, kind of the speech I always give. If I don't know, I'm not going to give anybody a load of baloney. I mean, I knew coming in with the experience that I had. I'd been in sales for about 10 years plus, and I had been trying to get into pharmaceuticals for years. And I thought, man, this is going to be my career. This is great. But it was for the money. It's always all about the money. If you're in sales and pharmaceuticals,
Yeah.
they really really put you through the ringer, but they pay you well. And I'm honestly, I'm glad it's over. When I was laid off, my initial reaction, I was in Sellersburg, Indiana, in my car, getting ready to go in and detail and sample a physician, and my first reaction was relief that, wow, this was great, but I don't have to do this anymore.
there's a
So
there's a saying that pharmaceutical sales guys never retired; they just operate until they get laid off, because
yeah,
that
that's
industry is known for that, right?
uh,
Like they'll push the drug until it's not pushable anymore, and then they just like lay off. I have a friend that used to work in pharmaceutical sales, and she said they pulled them all in for a meeting. And there was like 70 people, about 30 of them in person, about 40 of them were like brought in on a Zoom meeting. The department head comes in, says, "Hey, I just wanted to say, it's been a pleasure working with all you guys. Really appreciate all your hard work. This is Kelly from HR." Walks out of the room. Kelly from HR is like, "Effective immediately, we will be terminating this department. We will be having one-on-one conversations with each of you to discuss your compensation package upon exit. Thanks for being here." And it was like meeting was over. I was like, "Holy shit, man!" So lay off
that's
70
pretty,
people in
yeah,
one swoop
that's
like that.
exactly how it goes. Yeah, I've actually been there, and that's really how it goes. It is a surprise call. You work so hard and you build these relationships, and you are like, for my specific instance, I was with a group that went all the way from Manhattan, New York, all the way to Jacksonville, Florida. So
Wow.
Louisville was that East Coast, and I had the largest territory. So I had a 3-state territory, and I would drive. And
Wow.
it was, I got myself a nice vehicle, tons of storage. I was in and out of hotels. I was a suit wearer, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, always with my computer, always with my marketing material, my drugs, my prescription drugs. And oh man, you get pushed and you push, and it teaches you a lot. It taught me personally a lot about just my life, and it's not always all about money. It
Yeah.
definitely, it was a great opportunity, and it was, I look back very fondly. It was a good time for me. I made a lot of great friends, met a lot of great physicians. I mean, I got to go out to some awesome dinners, and I always felt a little guilty because I'm just thinking, where does this money come from? Because these are
Yeah.
$500 and $600 dinners that I'm paying for, and I know well, my specific role, for a fact, my last year, I calculated, because this is when iPads were coming out, and my girlfriend and I would sit upstairs, actually here, and we would fill out all of my receipts and all that good stuff, and I know I spent at least 60,000 that year alone in hotels and dinners and
Wow.
travel. And then I had another card for gas, and of course gas was $5 a gallon, and
So,
it was crazy. But yeah, so They pay you well, they treat you well, they do great things for you. You learn a lot, you listen, and then they cut your throat, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what RFK does when he gets in there. See what happens.
Yeah,
It's gonna.
that's exciting. The older I have gotten, the less drugs. I'm on nothing now. I'm on no drug. Every now and then I'll take something over the counter for a headache, but I'm
Yeah.
on no scripts, and
Well,
that's the way I want to live my life.
yeah. Did you see they just recently came out? This will be a good social media clip. Did you see that they recently just came out with? They were like rehashing and saying like some of this cold medicine that was on the shelves doesn't work and never has worked, and they're like kind of pulling it off before RFK gets in office. Did you see that?
I've seen a lot. I haven't seen that specifically. It's it's all about money in pharma, big
Yeah.
pharma especially. That's the thing is like I cared about the patient. I
Yeah.
cared about the end game because I had two levels of drugs. One was for children, one was for adults. So, you know, in the sales process, you're talking to the physician. Will you write this for XYZ? You would call I call them little Johnny, little Susie, but would you write this for this specific child with eczema, with atopic dermatitis that had screaming in the office that had all these issues where mom is like going crazy and dad has his hands over his face in that office every time when they're with the physician, just trying to understand, hey, physician X, when you were in that situation, would you please consider writing my drug, which is non-steroidal. You can actually put it on the face. Our competitor wasn't. And
Hmm.
it was just, I tried to put myself in that instance, but the end game for me in everything in life, in work, everything is people. That's what mattered to me. And so I wanted to build a career and do well, but I absolutely wanted to do the right thing and not push something just to have somebody take it just for the sake of taking it.
Yeah. No,
But
for sure, man. I'm.
but the drug was powerful. It was a good drug.
Yeah, I'm big on that, and I think big pharma. I think by the end of this decade, we're gonna learn a lot of stuff that came out of COVID. I just saw there's a bombshell report that just got released earlier this week about, basically uh, with the vaccines and whatnot, like some of the illnesses and deaths and stuff. And apparently there were like two or three of these like publishers that kind of hushed it and like wouldn't release the report. And so, I'm hopeful. I've said Trump's taking the Avengers with him to the White House. I'm hoping that this hodgepodge group that he gets in there actually does, some good for the American people, and maybe pulls back some of the stuff on big pharma. And I watched the Joe Rogan episode where Trump was on there getting interviewed, and Joe Rogan asked him, he said, "Hey, is anybody giving you pushback about having RFK in your cabinet?" And he's like, Big Pharma's not too happy about it because they know that he's going to come in there and try to cut some of that stuff out. So, cool, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing the war stories there with us. I want to move on to failures. I'm a big proponent. I call it the Lieutenant Dan method. So, if you're going, if you watch Forrest Gump, right, Lieutenant Dan doesn't have any legs. I'm a big proponent that you don't have to run butt ass naked as an entrepreneur through the minefield with your hair on fire and like hope that you don't step on a landmine. I think what you can do is you can utilize resources around you and mentors and business coaches and other people that have been there, right? And it's kind of like go up to Lieutenant Dan and say, "Hey, man, where did you step out there and lose your legs? I don't want to step in that same spot, right?" And again, I always people get in the comments. I mean, no disrespect against any of our military. My wife did 6 years in the Air Force, so it's just a joke, people on the internet. But what is, Jason? I want you to kind of share maybe a failure that you've maybe encountered in your life. On the podcast, I've shared stuff like, when I lost the fitness center that I bought, $500,000 worth of real estate, 6-figure business. I'm crying on the couch to my wife for a couple of weeks before I said, "Hey, buddy, you got to get the fuck up. Like, ain't nobody coming to save you." But like, what's kind of a failure maybe that you've had, that big or small, that you could share with my listeners here in the Sales Factory, or the people that are watching on any of the video outlets, either YouTube or the other social media platforms? What's a failure that you could share with us, and the lesson that you learned from it?
I think my career has had so many highs and so many lows. I mean, I have gone up and down and up and down and up and down that I never really had a backup plan. And I think that's necessary. I have one now. I love being a realtor, but if the world of real estate happens to go away or blow up, which I don't see that happening ever, I think real estate is the most important part of our economic and development and everything involved. But I now, at 48 years old, have a backup plan. When I was 20, no, when I first started my professional career at 19, I started at the Courier Journal, and I met so many awesome people. I met my girlfriend there. I was with her for 7 years. My best friend to this day, Kenny, he is like just a great person that I've worked with and been friends with for 30 something years because of the Courier Journal. So in those early days, I never had a backup plan. So one thing that I did that was completely irrational when I was doing really well is I thought, man, I'm going to get into radio because that's where the money is. That's where I can really flourish. And I did no research, and I was recruited heavily, and I failed miserably. I was very, very transparent with my leadership. I said, I can't do this. I did no research. They handed me the phone book, and that's my client list. And I came from
For
a
my Gen
really
Xers
I
that are
worked
listening, the phone book is this book that gets delivered to your house that has all these people in it. So
yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there was no social media. It was crazy. And your networking was just all about you. But I can tell you, Cindy Revasor, I still am in touch with her. She was my manager at that time. So I've learned since then to keep those contacts, keep networking, keep those relationships open, and do your research. Don't jump into things. I'm a Christian. I always have been. Jesus Christ is everything to me. So I pray about everything. And I have become a thinker. And at that time, I was just thinking, man, I'm going to kill it in radio. I'm going to be so good. And I was terrible, and I hated it. And I was on an oldies station, 103.9 WRKA. So Elvis and all these, like, that was never my thing. So I went back to the Courier Journal. I got to go back. They, that's another thing. Don't burn your bridges. Always do the right thing. Don't give anybody that middle finger. Don't use those 4-letter words, no matter
Take that one
how
to the bank,
upset you may
Andy.
be. Yeah. So yeah, I went back and I continued to do well and got a promotion after that and really just continued my career on. But I
Slide.
think the most important thing for me now that didn't exist then was come up with a plan B. You've got to have options, because I've actually been laid off 3 times,
Mm.
and each time it hurts. I was at Humana after pharma. I landed, started over from scratch, going from a killer salary to an hourly, and it was a contract position, and it was literally starting at the bottom, and I worked my way up, 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 and then after 3 years, I was laid off,
Mm.
and then I found another position within Humana and worked up, 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 got won some awards, did some stuff, had some great leadership. It was built those relationships again, and consulting with these providers and learning and listening about their offices and just being with them and taking them lunch and doing all the things, and laid off again. So that's actually what led me back into real estate, because my very first position at the Courier Journal, prior to everything, when I was at school at U of L working 35 hours a week part time, while going to school full time, is I started out in real estate advertising, and I got to hear some of those names then that now are synonymous. Parks and Weisberg, Ellen Shaken, the Rodolfos, ERA Kipple-Keene. These are names that have stayed in my head since the 90s, and I just it's been so up and down and up and down. So to be very clear, have a plan B and think it through. Don't be emotional or irrational. Have a plan on what you want to do and where you want to go.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. I always say profits over passion. You know, a lot of times when people have a business idea, I'm like, "Well, make any money?" It's like, that whole like we'll just be really passionate about it. Do something that you really enjoy. It's like, yeah, but if you go broke doing something you really enjoy, you're probably not going to enjoy it for very long, right? It's like, I want
That's
to be a race
right.
car driver. It's like, well, if you don't, if it doesn't make any money, you're going to blow all your cash and then not be able to drive your race car. You're going to be upset with both situations. So I appreciate you sharing those failures, man. I want to kind of transition a little bit to a personal development side, is there any books that you've read recently, or any anybody in the personal development space that you recommend our listeners check out, or this is the opportunity for you to maybe give them some resources that you've used in the past?
So I have been running for office for the second time, and I have had no time to do anything while working full time and running a small little charity. But the book that I have planned, two books actually to read. One is silly because I'm becoming a dork in my old age, but the Roberts Rules. I'm on the Metro Search Inc. board of directors, and I was elected the secretary treasurer for 2025. I was elected the Kentucky Realtors Delegate at Large this year
Oh
for
wow.
the next 3 years. So these are positions where I'm in listening and learning, and there's so much that goes along and the things that are said. So everything has to go by Robert's rules. And I know a
What
lot,
are
obviously.
Robert's rules? I'm not familiar with
So
that.
it's I need to make a motion,
Oh,
or
okay.
I need to call for the question, or just literally following a playbook of how to run a board meeting, how to keep things professional. Board meetings can be very emotional. They can be very cantankerous. Some people can be cantankerous in a board meeting.
Cantankerous. That's
Yeah,
a
great word.
Take that one to the bank. That's a $9. That's a
Yeah.
$9 word, dude. Break that one. I'm a big fan of words. Anytime I hear big words, I learned early on in my career that do not be afraid to be the dumbest person in the room, right? And so anytime I hear a word somebody uses that I don't know what it is, I stop and I'm asking them. So what's cantankerous? Is that what it?
Yeah, cantankerous, just a little
No, I don't know.
by definition, I probably don't know verbatim, but it's
Yeah.
just somebody who is being a little, you just want to slap the daylights out of them. They're not really doing
Ah.
what they need to do. It's a child can be cantankerous. It's just a little out of sorts. You need to just like slap them back into reality and say, hey, we're
Yeah.
in a professional setting. You
Yeah.
might want to take some of those personal concerns elsewhere. And I'm not saying that's what's happened specifically in any
Uh,
boardroom I've been in,
no,
but I
no,
have been in
we don't want to get you in
several.
trouble, but
Yeah.
cantankerous, a pain in the ass douchebag.
Cantankerous.
Okay, I'm with it. I'm
Yeah,
with you.
that
Okay.
that that would, yeah, a douchebag would definitely be. And it's a pulchritudinous. That's one of my favorite words. It means beautiful, and I
Take
don't
that
know
one again,
why
Randy.
I learned it.
Say that one again, Jason.
Pulchritudinous. And a good friend of mine, she's an awesome realtor. Her name's Catherine Vaughn, and I'll ask some people just kind of like uh, definition check. We'll be talking and saying things. Some friends make fun of me. Penultimate, pulchritudinous, cantankerous, silly stuff like that. And that woman is so smart and so sharp. She knew everything I was saying and every time. And these aren't $5 words. These are 50-cent words. I came from public school, went to U of L. I didn't go Ivy League. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
And it's just. But I definitely I read my dictionary. I do. I read my Merriam-Webster app every day. I do a word of the day. I do a lot of the quizzes and things like that.
Wow.
So one thing I do want to mention, like,
Expanding
and
that
I'm looking at it
vocabulary.
right, yeah, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. That's the
Oh,
book. That's the one that I don't know what it's about. A great guy, a lender, Mike Frank, gave it to me when I was running for office. So he said this is going to be great, and he actually followed up with me and said, "Hey, how's it going?" And I said, "I don't know. I'm door to door right now. I'm trying to win some votes here." East of Eden by John Steinbeck's another. I literally want to read the Bible cover to cover before I'm dead. I haven't been able to do that. So yeah, there's a lot out there, but I do a lot of reading, and I know it's ridiculous, but I read a lot on articles I'll find on Instagram or any other social media. I
nice.
am a big political guy. I love real estate. I love movies. I love neighborhood things in St. Matthews. So I may not be reading a book per se every single night, even though I literally have 5 or 10 stacked up by my bed. I definitely read a lot of articles and Robert's Rules. I went to the St. Matthew's Library. I have it upstairs. I rented it. Actually rented an old school book. Um, and I just want to get better. I want to listen. I want to learn. And if I do have to call for the question, Madam President, I want to know what I'm talking about. And I do know there what I'm talking about. But there are plenty of times when somebody will say something and they've been doing this for 20, 30 years, and somebody else will say, no, no, no,
Yeah. No, I get
that's
that,
that's
man.
not
And
correct based on Robert's rules.
I think too it's just a part of like honing your craft, right? Like I just got done doing end of year, we call them heading adjustments, but they're performance reviews with all of my team members yesterday. And
Oof.
one of the team members, I was coaching him and helping him understand that he kind of blazes through things sometimes. Like, yeah. He just kind of talks over. And I'm like, listen, you got to slow down. And it's not, yeah. It's
Yeah.
okay. Interesting. Oh yeah, I'm with you. I get that, right? It can't be the same word over and over and over again. And I kindly, politely said, listen, man, if you want to stay an amateur, don't take my advice. You want to go be a pro, these are the small little intricate details that you got to polish up to go to the next level. And what I hear from you, Jason, is that no matter how many setbacks you've had, right, being laid off 3 times, it's like you got up, you dusted yourself off, and you got back in the game, and you said, "Hey, I'm gonna continue to get better." And it's such a powerful piece of life. Um, I really think that one of the beauties about being a human being is that we can set goals, we can improve ourselves, and this is I think you're kind of sharing a story with us today that shows that, right? It's reading books, it's learning about things that you're involved with, whether it be in the political realm of like, hey, how can I handle this, these meetings better, or what that looks like. So I appreciate this, man. I appreciate you sharing with us. Let's talk about something I saw on your resume here about the Halloween in St. Matthews. So we've got some Louisville listeners on.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit, man. What made you want to create this
Yes.
event that's got over 800 attendees now? What caused you to want to do
Yeah.
that, and like and how's it, how to get started and how to get to where it is now?
So 2019, I created a 501c3 called Grandview Avenue and Friends. It's I live on Grandview Avenue here in St. Matthews, and I'm staring at it. That's why I keep pointing at it. But within the Grandview Avenue and Friends, I wanted to have like subsidiaries of small little things that I could do for people, do for other charities where I could gain, funds, sell things, do things, get things donated, and then give it to other charities. Not worry about the paperwork and the headache with the people in Frankfurt. So Grandview Avenue and Friends birthed Grandview Avenue Block Party. So it was a block party that I had planned to do every single year. It was extremely expensive. I completely went about it the wrong way. I paid for everything. I didn't get a single sponsor. It was about a $4,000 day. It was June 19th, 2019. It was from 3:30 to 10 p.m. I had bands, I had fireworks, I had bouncy houses, and in the middle of it was a charity auction. So I gathered, I think it was about, $6,000 worth of stuff. So I know a lot of people in the community, and I would say, hey, I'm trying to create this thing, this like annual event that we're going to have every single year, and donate. And they did. They came out in droves. I have a great network of people who really are super, super giving and helpful. And that's what I'm appreciative about in this community. That's why I love St. Matthew so much.
That's
So
cool.
Grandview Avenue Block Party was an awesome day. It had about 1,000 people on a hot summer day, and that was the thing, is it was supposed to be an annual event, and I couldn't do it, and I got laid off from Humana, so I really couldn't do it. So I started to have smaller neighborhood parties, doing this and that. I did a little thing where I got about $1,000 worth of stuff for St. Matthew's Area Ministries donated. Took that down to a homeless shelter. Did some stuff for veterans. Chenoweth Animal Hospital was the actual recipient from Granby Avenue Block Party. So Wave 3 contacted me and said, hey, can we come
That's
to your
cool.
event? And my neighbors, yeah, it was fun. My neighbors were like, oh, Lord, please, like, we know you, and you're already going to have 1 million people there. So can't we just do a backyard party? And I'm like, no, but I will give you this. I will tell the news no. So I said, why don't we just present the check to the recipient on the news? So we did, and it was awesome. And they got $2,015. So I ended up selling the
Wow.
$6,000 worth of stuff. I mean, we're talking nice dinners, Jeff Ruby's, wine, bourbon,
Wow.
restaurant gifts, just all kinds of stuff that you can think of. Then I went outside of St. Matthews. I went all over Louisville. I had the Belle of Louisville involved, Churchill Downs, anybody I could get my hands on, Rainbow Blossom. The list goes on and on and on.
Wow.
So did some smaller stuff here and there. So in our neighborhood on Norborn Avenue, there's a gentleman named Dave Drummond, and he had this great party, and he retired. And he did so quickly, I believe in 2022, that I thought, man, I really want to take this over, but I can't plan this party in a week. Or maybe it was 2020. 23. I don't remember. It all kind of melds together. But the short version is, I said, I love Halloween. Always have. I always have. I've
It's
seen
a
them
fun
all
holiday.
in the theater. Watch. Oh, it's unbelievable. I have some friends now that I literally, actually, let me. There it is over here. So these are some friends of mine. My friend Leslie is in a scary movie. I'm not going to name it because it's embarrassing for me, not for her. But I went to in high school. I took my girlfriend and we went to see. It's one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but I went to see the movie, and I'm now friends with her. And she and the entire cast and crew, they travel around. They came to Louisville last year, and we all went to dinner and had a great time. And they said, and I was geeking out a little bit, but not where they would know it. But because I was sitting with Lisa Zane, her brother's the guy Billy from Titanic, and talking to her about her family and talking to all these great awesome people that were in this movie that I went to see, that I grew up watching. So I love Halloween. I love the movies. I love everything about it. And once Mr. Drummond retired, I thought, okay, I've got to create something, because as a realtor, you need to do a minimum of two events, big events every year. And I'm not a pie day kind of guy. I don't like to just hand out pies from Costco. And not that there's anything wrong with that. If anybody does that, that's absolutely fine. That's just not my thing. So running for office, being
I'm
a
gonna have a hater in
realtor,
the
wanting
comments like,
to.
I don't like Jason. I like to hand out my pies.
Yeah, well, go for it. I mean, truly nothing against pie, but that's not me. I don't care about pies, and I love Thanksgiving, but Halloween is my thing.
Oh man, I love
And
pies and
so,
Thanksgiving. Pumpkin pie. It's coming up.
absolutely,
Sweet
yeah,
potato
next
pie,
Thursday.
apple pie, apple streusel pie. I'm gonna get some pie. I have to go get some pie after this episode, Jason. Thank you for this.
Oh yeah, of course, pecan pie.
And
So,
the Rock's favorite poontang pie, right? I had to edit that one out. No,
wow.
I'll just joke. Leave it in there. Fuck it. Sorry, Jason, not to get you off tilt.
But
Back to Halloween.
no, no, no. And I'm never a concise person. I've tried to be. That's one thing I obviously should work on in life. But the long and the short of it is, I called Dave this summer. I said, not only do I want your blessing, I want you to be here at Halloween in St. Matthews. He had it on Norburn, and I think it was called Halloween on Norburn. He had about 200 or 300 people. I think the max he had was 300 at his best. And I hired him. He said, I'm not working for free. And I said, nor do I expect you to. And I have sponsors. What do you want? I didn't even negotiate. I wasn't going to do that to him. He worked his butt off. He built a great tradition. And I just decided to take that over. And so got a lot of sponsors, amazing people, just an awesome day. I'm telling you, it was very stressful because the weather played a factor that I never anticipated. But on the Sunday prior, he calls me and says, Jason, I can't do Thursday night because the event is on Halloween night.
Oh.
You're not going to have a DJ, because I can't do Friday and I can't do this and I can't do that. And I understand, man. So what are we going to do? We're going to do it on Halloween Eve. So how are we going to do it? We're going to blast, meaning me, we blast the daylights out of it. So the long and the short of it was, there were 800 people. It
How'd you
was
blast it
unbelievable.
out? How'd you get the word out?
Just social media. There are a lot of pages that I'm on.
Hey, take that one with a
And
backhanded.
yeah, oh yeah. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, Nextdoor. There's a couple pages on Facebook that I'm a member of that I constantly post. And it's a good look for a realtor. It's a good look for someone who wants to run for office. But honestly, it came from, I just want to throw a Halloween party and I want to do it up big time and have fun. And we did, man. I could not believe it. I was, for one of the first times in my life, speechless. There were so many people. It was so fun. I think I gave out $5,000 or $6,000 worth of stuff because I wanted to make it a party for adults too. I wanted the parents involved.
Yeah.
So the costume contest, the bourbon, the drills, all the stuff that I handed out, all the gift certificates, car washes, all kinds of crazy stuff. Anything anybody would donate,
That's cool.
I would say, yeah, let's hand it out, and we did. So it was an awesome night, and it's definitely going to be an annual event. I'm going to continue to work with these same partners and try and build more every year. But one great thing too, kind of going old school. Not only did I do social media, but being a realtor and living a life of having signs everywhere, And being a political guy here locally and having signs everywhere, I had 162 for my Jason for St. Matthews run. And I bought some old school signs and I threw them up,
Some yard
and that
signs.
got the word out. So
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
yeah. And
I'm
they
still a huge proponent of yard signs. They work tremendously
they
well,
do.
especially if you take a selfie with them, right? Like a lot of times, and I
Yeah.
talk about this in like all these seminars I'm doing. I just got back. It's like 11. I think I did 11 events in 12 weeks, and
Whoa.
the idea of like this social media blueprint that I teach agents and small business owners, entrepreneurs, is that there's an online world and an offline world, right? And so, like, cool, yard signs, yes, but then take a selfie in front of that yard sign, post it on social, run it as a paid ad, and say, hey, be on the lookout for these yard signs. I do X, Y, and Z, right? Or there's a Halloween party. And then what happens is you're hitting them in multiple different layers and multiple different uh, online and offline opportunities. Social media is such a big piece of this, man. Like, a lot of my listeners already know this, but like I started Carroll Media back in 2016, and it took me 6 months to get my second client. And I knew back then, like, I was like, hey, we're probably just really early. And like now, fast forward to 2024, we're still early. Like, we still like run into small business owners that are like not doing anything on social media. So, shameless plug,
Oof.
reach
Yeah,
out
you
to
have
us if we
to.
can help anybody that's listening with that. But beauty of having my own podcast, I get to plug it, and I don't have to pay for sponsorships.
There you go.
But I love that, man.
I
It sounds
agree.
like it was a great event, and you guys had a hell of a time. I'll have to be on the lookout for that next year. As we wrap this thing up, man, is there any final words of advice to the listeners, or anything else that is on the top of your mind?
I just think in this new age of real estate, with all the changes and everything, you have to be connected. You have to make friends. There is so much business to go around. Ryan Cecil is one of my great friends. She's an incredible realtor. She's a South End hustler. I want to be that
South
East
End
End
Hustler,
hustler.
I like
But
that.
yeah, that she is, and she's good, and she's smart, and I talk to her probably twice a week. So that's the thing is, on paper, is she my competition? Sure. We're all each other's competitors, but man, she motivates me and I motivate somebody else and somebody motivates somebody else. So I say network, keep in touch with people, follow up with people, listen to people. I know that's all I've done is talk here, but shut your mouth,
Yeah,
open your ears, talk to them, and just try and understand them, because like I said earlier, it's all about people. It's all about that human connection. And anytime I can mentor somebody or offer any kind of, ride with a realtor day. I've had a lot of people reach out to me. A kid from Trinity reached out
that's
recently,
cool.
and man, I I don't think he understood like what I was planned out from 8:30 to whatever. I took him to a closing. I took him to a house. We did a show. I did the whole gamut. I talked to him about contracts. I talked to him about how leadership works at GLAR and KYR, and just how to be a 1099, because I work for myself. I'm affiliated with Homepage, and a
Yeah,
shout out to Carrie and a shout out to George. They're incredible. I'm so happy to be there. I've been there 3 months. Yeah. So it's just,
nice.
and they're a good advocate, a great advocate of doing just that. They are the kind of people that will motivate, and they will listen, and they change with the times, because you have to be forward thinking. It's 2025 in what, 8 weeks?
Yeah,
If you're not having a
6 weeks,
killer
right? Yeah,
social media, yeah,
yeah, we're middle of November when we're recording this, so yeah, you're 6 weeks out from the end of the
yeah.
year.
So you've got to have that social media presence, and you've got to have those photographers. You got to have that Matterport. You have to have that drone footage. It's not a, go out and go and do and try and get it on your own anymore. I'm going with a brokerage that's forward thinking, that's smart about it, and I'm the client. That's the most important thing to me at Homepage is I am the client. They want me to be happy. And I need to be happy, because I am going 24 hours a day doing this and that and campaign and realtor and all this other stuff that a lot of people may or may not be involved with. But I'm really going to focus more on my business in 2025 and pull back from some of the stuff that I have been doing. It's not that I don't love it, but some of it doesn't pay a penny. But I still love that networking and love the people. And I just think it's really, really important to have that human connection, and be friends with realtors, be friends with clients, listen and learn, stay in touch, And I think that's the key to success is, and one thing I've kind of, one of the last things I'll say, I've grown into my own skin in my late 40s. I used to care so much about what people think, and I would get upset, like somebody said this, and I'm like, oh yeah. But now it's like, man, I am who I am. I mean, if you see all the crazy stuff behind me, I mean, I've got my Fleetwood Mac album, I've got my Freddie's Dead from Nightmare on Elm Street, I've got my all the crazy stuff, some awards and some presidential things I've won, a president's club, that kind of thing. But I am who I am, and I'm happy with me, and I'm happy with how I kind of come off on my social media. So I hope people want to work with me. Uh, if they don't understand, not everybody's for everybody, but I just
Yeah,
really think that
you got,
networking.
yeah, you got to have that network, man. That old saying, "Your net worth is your network," or "Your network is your net worth," is so true. And I'll tell you too, man. With a homepage, I was in your guys' office. I don't know. I think it was like a month ago. We did a lunch and learn in there, and like the media studio that you guys have, and the green screen, and the like in-house editors. Like I reiterated it probably 6 or 7 times while I was in there doing the lunch and learn that like that is such a huge resource that the agents have downstairs, and they should be utilizing it more and more and more, because it's this little thing right here, man. This is God's gift to small business owners. The ability for us to shoot content and put it out for the world to see so that we can grow our businesses. Like that's never existed before, and like the barriers to entry have never been lower. It's never been a better time to have a small business and to try to go out and fight this good fight and be an enterprising organization. So, Jason, I appreciate you coming on the Sales Factory today, man, sharing your knowledge with us, sharing your background. Hopefully, you guys, if you're listening to this still, you made it all the way to the end. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, give a thumbs up. Jason, if people want to find you online, maybe there's a kid listening right now that's in high school. It's like, hey, I think I might just want to go into the real estate field like right out the gate. How do they get a hold of you to try to do one of those ride-alongs or to maybe have you as a mentor?
Best thing, and my number's out there everywhere, my address, everything, and my whole world is online. But 502-523-5200, just text me. I was hacked on some social media, so right now I'm only on Instagram, and it's at Jason Lee Johnson.
Perfect.
But you can always go to jasonleejohnson.com as well.
Yeah, plug it all, baby. I love it.
Plug.
Awesome, guys. Well, guys, appreciate you tuning in to another episode of the Sales Factory. Like I said, please hit that subscribe button on any of the platforms you're watching. Like it, thumbs it up, leave a comment. It helps us get in front of more people so that we can help them grow their business, grow themselves as entrepreneurs or sales professionals. Until next time, hustle, it's worth it.